Okay, then different town, different day, St Boswell's, where there's a place called Main Street Trading.
Woohoo!
That has a new bookshop, a great cafe, and in a separate building there's a delicatessen as well. Yeah, we bought things. Jenny, you've bought many things.
Yeah, I bought 3 things.
Okay.
And then, Jackie Kay. I love Jackie Kay. She's one of the great poets of one of the great poets. So Jackie Kay, Scottish poet. She was the first. She's been Macca, which is a Scottish kind of national.
She was the third modern Macca.
The third modern Macca.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a national poet. And Jackie Kay was adopted by. Her father was African, and her mother was white British, and she was adopted quite young by a couple who were extremely active socialists, particularly in Glasgow. So a lot of the poems talk about Glasgow and talk about it as a place and it as a site of socialist activism. She writes a lot in Scots, which is not Gaelic. Scots language is a language of its own, and she writes a lot in Scottish, and she writes very clear poetry. She tells you what she wants you to know, but in such a beautiful musical, I don't know, it's very winning, her poetry. There's quite a long poem about her experience of being a campaigning person for various things.
In here or just
in there?
Oh, right.
I mean, when I say very long, it's like 5 or 6 pages. But it brought, because I was very active in the peace movement in Britain in the 80s, and it brought back the feeling of being on big marches, big demonstrations, and the joy of that, and how you felt that sense of being with your people. It is one where I could start at the beginning and just read it right through to the end and not stop.
The whole book.
The whole book, yeah.
Which
I started reading
not how you normally read.
No. Normally I do try and start at the beginning and read them through, because they're usually organised in a specific order for a purpose. But that, I picked it up when we got home, and before I knew it, I'd read about 10 poems.
Awesome. Because
they're just lovely. They're just so moving and so fresh and so clear and so clean and so full of love for her parents, Helen and John, I think their names were. She's great. She's absolutely great. She writes novels and short stories as well, but look her up. She's probably got videos on YouTube.
I'm sure, yeah.
I would never read one of hers out loud, because the Scottishness of them is so important. I think there might be the odd one or two where you could just about get away with it, but I've heard her read her own stuff, and Jackie Kay, my heart belongs to Jackie Kay. Well, it belongs to Roy, but she can borrow it for a bit.
And briefly, I'll mention a couple of things I bought. History stuff. I've been not really doing the Historathon event, but it did just get me interested in history books. And a great title, The Blazing World, New History of Revolutionary England. So it's basically about the 1600s. Author Jonathan Healey. So that's when, among other things, you had the Civil War and Cromwell and all that kind of stuff. Looks good.
English Revolution.
Also, historically, Bluestockings, the first women's movement. Only this came out this year. I did a bit of research into the whole Bluestocking idea when I was doing my MA. And I did think there isn't really the sort of popular historical book dealing with them. Maybe this will be that book. So these were sort of free. They also give you a bookmark in every book. So 1750s, women in those days becoming sort of public intellectuals. So circle back to that when I've read it. Jennie got a magazine as well that I had to reach down. She's very small, that's why you can't see her on the video.
I'm about the size of Mrs. Pepper Pot, if that means anything to anybody. I like to buy the odd poetry magazine rather than subscribe to a specific one. I bought that. It's got poetry and short fiction and what they call creative non-fiction these days. They call it that.
Yeah. One of my former colleagues, Smedge Hill's in there, Roger Glass. And then they do that thing of having some books sort of near the till. And they play a little tune as well to make you like them. So, Impulse by Karen Powell, 15 Wild Decembers. It's a literary reimagining of the life of Emily Bronte. So I just thought that looks like, kind of looks like a holiday read, really. It looks pretty short. It's about the Brontes. People like it. What's not to love?
Can I just say, I didn't get a bookmark in any of mine.
Oh, 3 things.
I will tell you what they are. Number 1, the lunar year, is I'm going through a bit of a need to connect with the seasons because I'm an inside person, really. I don't go out gadding about like Mr. Roy does. I'm finding I feel a bit divorced from nature. So that's part of that I bought that kind of. The world, the book selling world is awash with coffee table, mind, body, spirit, witchy, magic-y sorts of things. But I love the illustrations in that. I think they're gorgeous. So yeah, that's me getting my inner witch on.
She must have liked me then. So that was the Main Street Trading and Bookmarks for Men policy. We were in a garden centre.
There you are.
And there were books as well. Yay. So Scottish Borders Folk Tales. Jennie bought this. We've had others in this series. They're really good. They're modern rewritings of folk stories. It's kind of good because, sort of stories that have been passed down. It can be a bit clunky if you have to read them in an archaic form.
Yes. That has actually got the Thomas the Rhymer story in it. And all the places in it are places we've been.
Oh, nice.
Which is cool.
Good. So,
very cool.
That is haulage on this holiday.
Holiday haul.
Could there be something else on the way home? We'll have to see. Anything's possible.
I don't think premiering sometimes.
Sometimes that one doesn't have books lying around.
Oh.
But I'm going to strike into Carlisle, so there could be Carlisle. Carlisle Subsidiary Hall. Anyway, see you soon, folks.
Sorry, bit. There you go. Keep out the Oss Road.